Thank you for the Facebook Live audience out there tuning in. We got me, Chad the Barber. JoJo English is going to be on the show with us via the telephone. It's going to be a good time talking all that kind of stuff. Major League Baseball started, NCAA Final Four, NBA picks from JoJo, his insight. The Masters coming up this weekend. All that going on. Let's start the show right now. Where's that music? Bam! Hear that? Oh! What? What? That's my record right now. That's my record. That's my record right now.
Too early for all that.
That's my record.
Boy, wow.
That's my record. They playing my record. That's my record.
What is that? What is that?
Let's see that.
Is that what that was? I don't know.
Smoke. You smoke. I don't know.
That's not how
yo, we got who like this? Yeah, dog. What's up?
I don't know.
You got to flex for this. I don't know. That's my record. That's Huff and Puff Sports Buzz.
Is that where we at?
I think we're ready to bring it on. Let's go. Welcome to the show. Huff and Puff Sports Buzz. My name is Stacey Huff, the president of Huff Nation Sports.
I'm Chad the Barber, the Puffster, Puff Nation. I'm stealing all the stuff.
I see that.
But that's how it goes.
It's good stuff. That lets me know it's good stuff, though.
Yeah.
Imitation is the highest form of flattery. Welcome into the show, folks. On this show,
the easiest way to get to the top.
That's right. On this show, we're going to talk about NCAA Final Four. We're going to recap that for you real nice. Talk about the Masters coming up. LT Gray, Eldrick Tiger Woods in action this weekend. Talk about some NFL moves going on. The Rams still all up in the news. Major League Baseball off to a good start. What's going on in Philadelphia? The title of the show, what in the world is going on in Philly? We're not used to Philadelphia having winning teams.
Yeah,
they're not used to having nice things in Philadelphia. So what's going on?
Rocky season, man.
That's why they climbing poles.
Rocky season.
It is Rocky Balboa.
I didn't know they didn't have a real statue out there.
And you know what?
I thought they really had the Rocky statue.
LeBron is trying to sue Bama
for the statue.
No, for Boston Barbershop Talk. We'll talk about that as well. But first, let's get to our guest. Chad and I welcome to the program for the first time. It will not be the last time. Always a friend of any show I'm on. Welcome to the show, former Lord Richard Diamond Hornet. And you say once a Diamond Hornet, always Diamond Hornet. Former Gamecock JoJo English. Former Chicago Bull JoJo English. Current head coach of Richard Northeast High School. Just got that position last month and won the state championship at Sumter High School, the Gamecock from Sumter, just about 3 or 4 years ago. Welcome to the show, Stephen JoJo English. What's up, my man?
How you doing, Huffster, man? I got to correct you a little bit.
Okay, correct me, JoJo. What's up?
Diamond, I'm never a former Gamecock.
Y'all gotta get JoJo volume up. Gotta get JoJo's volume up. Less music, more JoJo.
Kill the DJ.
Yeah, he's like
DJ.
What you got, JoJo?
What's up, Huffster? How you doing, man?
We hanging in there, man. Hanging in. Good to hear from you, my man. You want to correct me on something? What you got?
Yeah, 2 things I'm not. I'm not a former Diamond. I'm not a former Gamecock.
Always.
Stuff just cover over the illustrious diamond shine that I have, but I'm never a former either one of those.
Because it's always.
Yeah. Always.
I did kind of say. I did. You listen. I did say that. I said you're going to correct me. It's not former. It's always.
I apologize.
I was a Gamecock at the same time you were a young fella, and he's also known as the man who cannot beat me at golf. But we'll talk about that later.
Wow, low blow.
So JoJo, we just had to find. You know. Again, first of all, how do you feel, man? You just got the head job at Richard Northeast High School. They were former opponents back in the day. You have a familiarity with Coach Gary Foreman, the athletic director over there. Was one of your coaches at Lord Richard when you won a state championship. How do you feel about getting that new job at Richard Northeast, man? And what are your prospects for your first year out as the new head coach there?
You know, me and Coach Foreman go back to my JV days. Actually, 9th grade year, he came in and invited me to tryouts. That's how far we go back. And the principal, Mrs. Sabrina Suber, they believed in me, gave me opportunity, offered me an opportunity, and just enjoyed being back in high school basketball and trying to impact young people's lives.
JoJo, glad to have you, man. I know you're going to do a great job there. I watched what you did at Sumter High School. My frat brother, Sterling Harris, the principal that hired you at Sumter, and I watched how you took that program, I think, in 2 years to a state championship game. I was there when that team came out and put on one of the best performances I've seen at the Colonial Life Arena a few years ago there. Then you went to the college ranks for a few years and now back. So with that being said, I know you know about college. You played at Carolina, as we mentioned, and you're an astute observer. Talk to me about the Final Four, man. Let's start with the ladies' side. I know actually a lot of people don't know this. You started off as a grad assistant one year, worked some on the staff at University of South Carolina once your playing career was over, so you're familiar with the women's game as well. Talk about what you saw at Notre Dame, that run they had knocking off the Giant in Connecticut, and then same young lady, Agunbowale. Every time I say that name, I feel like I'm in Wakanda. But how do you feel about her performance in 2 big game-winning shots?
Okay, well, to go back to the Final Four, in reference to our Gamecocks and Coach Staley, I think the last 2 years they got an unfair draw.
I agree.
Being that they're, a top seed, being that you're the defending national champion and you have to go all the way to Albany.
Correct.
To play in the region, I think it's completely unfair.
Agreed.
I mean, the NCAA get in there, they can kind of adjust things according to certain teams, and I think that is completely unfair. But I'm absolutely proud of our women and what they've done. They have changed and impacted basketball and kids and adults throughout the state of South Carolina and the Southeast. Now, to get into the Final Four, I mean, people say that UConn wasn't prepared because they didn't have the challenging games leading up to it. But I don't want to discredit what Notre Dame has done. Those girls made big shots and they competed. And the game didn't just come down to that last shot. It was multiple plays during the game. You know, UConn had, 3 or 4 girls that were up for Player of the Year. You know, so they had, you know, actually more quote-unquote talent or the higher ranked, you know, kids like everybody like to get into. But I think Notre Dame had the better team. And then when it came down to the clutch time, they put the ball in the hand of the person that, you know, they felt can at least get a good shot off. Because that last 3 was a highly contested shot. It was a tough shot and it went in. Some shots go in, some shots, you know, don't. But I think Notre Dame played an excellent game and you know, they were prepared for UConn because they competed with them before in the Final Four and in championship games, and they always came out on top.
Absolutely, JoJo. Well said. And again, you know, I've said on this show before, and I said on radio on Saturday, I think it's good for women's college basketball that UConn lost because they drew people into the tent, and then they got beat. Just like Muhammad Ali back in the day, he was good for boxing when he lost because that just made another star. He was going to be a star. Whoever beat him became another star, so now you double your amount of stars by whoever beats him. So UConn now, everybody always talked about UConn, the casual fan. Now people remember that Notre Dame has been good for some years. The Gamecocks just won it, and Mississippi State from the SEC played for it, and they were in the Final Four last year. So do you agree or disagree, and you can state how you feel about it either way, that it's okay that UConn lost that game on Friday night?
Well, I never like to – I have a different perspective like coaching because I always feel like anybody can be beat as long as kids play together and play as hard as they possibly can play. And I think the women's tournament and the men's tournament exemplify both of those facts. You don't have to deal with the one and done kid because in my opinion, and I may be wrong, but in my opinion, I think if you get a kid that's one and done, his motivation to succeed in the NCAA tournament is not like that kid who just on a college scholarship and want to play college basketball at the highest level and compete at the highest level and want to win that championship. But when it's done, be like, okay, well, we lose it. Guess what? You know, I'm going to go and declare and I'm going to start getting ready for the draft and start making money. Their motivation is not the same. They don't have the same appreciative value or the collective like fight as Villanova and Notre Dame exhibited in both of those championship games. Everybody thinks that you have to have the most talent or the highest ranked player and all this kind of stuff to win, and that doesn't necessarily work. You have to have a group of kids, a group of people that's willing to sacrifice for each other and give themselves to each other. Like when I coach my kids, I said, you got to play with your brothers. You got to be willing to sacrifice for your brothers to make the team better, because the better the team does, the better the individual does. And I think both the men's and women's tournaments exemplified that.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. And JoJo, I picked in January. I thought Villanova was the best team in college basketball. Now I will admit the rest of my bracket was garbage. But other than having Villanova correct, and since January they would win the championship. A lot of upsets. I think parity is kind of coming to college basketball, although we had some blue bloods in the Final Four. Talk about Villanova's performance and DiVincenzo. I hope I'm saying the kid's name right. He was kind of at a coming out party. Jalen Brunson is a kid who's a third year, started there, played on the championship team 2 years ago, and may or may not come out for the draft. Talk about Villanova and what they've done, JoJo, to win that championship and how strong they looked all year. Were you on board with them most of the year?
Yeah, I think, well, if anybody, looked at their team that when Brunson was a freshman, the minutes he played and the experience he got in that particular game, because he made big plays in that particular game that, helped them to win. And that goes back to what I was saying. You got a kid that wants to perform at the college level, has, you understand you have to take, like, it's a process. You just don't go from crawling to running. It has a process, and that kid understands the process. Now, this year, Villanova, because we don't see them on TV as much as we see North Carolina, Duke, and the Kansases and the Virginias, we got fooled in terms of, like, the quote-unquote blue bloods are the better teams always because they have the higher ranked quote-unquote recruits, and that's not always that wins. It's like Loyola Chicago. They proved that point, to the fullest. I think Villanova with their guard play, with their veteran guard play, and I think the most outstanding thing that Coach Jay Wright did is a lot of times you don't start your 5 best players. to a certain degree. You start the five that play the best together, and you might have that one guy that is a starter, that can be a starter, that comes off that bench that has to play against the second unit, and you give him carte blanche to go out there and play basketball. Have fun. Where with the first group, he had to fit into a particular role. When he comes off with that second group, he can go out there and play free, and that's what DiVincenzo did.
Okay, exactly. So what about this kid? He's a redshirt sophomore. Do you think he should come out or come back for another year?
No, go to school. Go to school. He's not that good. You had one good game, that don't make you a pro. The NBA, if you watch this TV screen and you see that you got to come out there and you got to deal with a Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry or Damian Lillard or Klay Thompson or Bledsoe, or, you know, it's not that easy. It looks easy because we seeing the finished product, but people don't understand those boys that are sitting on that bench can really, really, really play. Absolutely. They are the best on the planet Earth. Absolutely. You just can't just say you had one good game in TV and then go out there and you ready for the NBA. He need to prove that he can do it again in college. Okay, you know, be an All-American next year. Then, if you know that good, in my opinion, right? You know, because a lot of kids think they're a lot better than what they are because they had a good moment.
Misevaluation is hurting everybody from middle school to AAU to college. People are getting the wrong evaluation. I think we both agree on that. But I think the kid showed that he has the tools to play in the NBA. You're right. He may not be ready. Got to get bigger. But Villanova, if everybody comes back, they're gonna win it again next year. It'll be hard to put out. No doubt about it. You mentioned the NBA, JoJo. We got to get your take. And if you got a question for JoJo, jump in there. But JoJo, we got to get your take, man. I know you play with the Bulls, play with Michael Jordan. So you saw the NBA at a high level.
I'll wait until y'all finish. I got a question.
Okay. So JoJo, with the NBA being what it is right now, a lot of people saying Houston is the challenger to the Warriors. I know you've been a Warriors hater for a while because you ride the wagon of the Spurs. But what do you think about Houston and James Harden and Chris Paul? Are they ready to unseat Golden State in the West? And also, who do you think comes out of the East?
Well, first of all, Chris Paul has never been to a Western Conference Finals.
Exactly.
I believe, in my opinion. So that says something. And I know the regular season, everybody look at the crossovers and the threes and the step backs and all that kind of stuff, but you forget a year ago, almost to this day, Kawhi Leonard shut all that down. I'm just a firm believer in ball movement, player movement with a purpose. James Harden is outstanding, playing outstanding, and he should be the MVP. But for a guy to come across the court and dribble the ball 10, 20, 30 times to get a bucket, to me, is not good basketball. That's just showing your outstanding athletic ability because those kids, those guys at that level are the best on the planet Earth at what they do. There's a bunch of guys that can take that basketball at the top of the circle. You wouldn't be able to stop them. He's not necessarily the only one. I still believe in, the Spurs and the way they play basketball, but do they have that star now with Kawhi being out for them to get to the finals and win it all? No, because you have to have that superstar. You have to have that guy or that person you can give the ball to, and hey, you just got to depend on their God-given ability and skill level. I still think Golden State is the standard bearer because of the experience that they have.
Now you sound smart. You sound so smart right now.
No, I'm just saying. Yeah, they look. Everybody think because you're supposed to finish number one in the East and number one in the West, you're gonna win the championship. The good teams win. The good teams win on the road.
Right.
And I don't care what nobody say. To beat Golden State 4 times in 7 games, I don't see many teams that can do that. I don't see Houston if they get hot, but they still have to stop them because Klay hasn't been hot. Steph is not there. KD hasn't really been hot. You see Draymond is starting to roll into form, and people don't realize that they are falling into the mold of the San Antonio Spurs where these last, 10, 15 games of the season, that's when they starting to take their rest, and they're getting ready for that 15, 16 game stretch to win the championship.
Absolutely, JoJo. Good stuff, man. Last question real quick.
Let me get my question.
Chad want to throw one in there. Chad got a question.
Now, listen, I'm bringing mine straight from the barbershop, my brother. I don't know much about you. I know you, dunked on Michael Jordan and had a dunk contest with Michael Jordan and played with Michael Jordan or something. But the story I heard is that you were the guy that gave Michael Jordan the idea of the hoop earring. It all came from my brother. Is it true?
Well, I don't talk a lot in barbershops. I come there to get haircuts. And I hope that when you tape people, your line is straight. But we'll get into that a little bit later. But I don't do hoops. Listen. I told that don't do hula hoops. And I tell a couple of these high school boys, I don't like the 2 hoops in each year. And I tell parents that's not a good look. Even the 2 studs. Because when you go in for a job interview or you go in there to apply for a scholarship or whatever it may be, you have to look a certain way. So prepare for that now. I'm not into the hoops. I don't even hula hoop. Only thing I like circle is the basketball goal.
So it wasn't him. So it wasn't him. Apparently, I thought it wasn't him.
No. It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
No,
it wasn't me.
JoJo, who's coming out of the East, man? Who's coming out of the East? I know, right?
I like Boston. I'm going with Kyrie. I think Kyrie's gonna beat your boy.
JoJo,
I'm sorry,
JoJo,
because
Kyrie,
you know what?
and
you know, and I might be wrong. I'm not perfect. I strive to be perfect every day, but like the Lord said, nobody is perfect. Only thing I believe about the Boston Celtics, because they have a system. They have a system in which they play basketball. People give Phil Jackson a hard time because he done with the triangle, but they had a system. Houston has a system, but it's based on one-on-one basketball. When it boils down to and people scouting you and stopping certain things, they can't really stop a system. If you look at the different players, they have multiple players that can be good on nights. But the most important thing about them is that they can defend each spot.
Now they can do that.
You know, they can defend each spot. And then Kyrie's the X factor because you know what he can do in best shots. And there's not a guard in the NBA that can stand in front of him.
Steven.
No, period.
Steven JoJo,
so
tell you this,
I know. before you get started, I know you're gonna go with LBJ 2-3 to do all this and do that stuff. But guess what? It's too late to have D Wade. D Wade's not coming. Chris Bosh is not coming.
Steven.
He can't recruit. You know, he can't go out there and get James Harden and Chris Paul and all the guys on the banana boat. He's gonna have to play.
That's not what I'm doing. Guess what? Let me help you out. I'm gonna tell you this, JoJo. You know I respect your basketball acumen like none other. You're a facilitator of basketball instructor. You're the FBI. Facilitator of basketball instructor. That's what you told me you were. So let me tell you, I got respect. Let me say this. Here's where you went wrong. Here's where you went off the deep end right here. You say nobody can stand in front of Kyrie. If he's sitting in street clothes, sit down on the bench, I can stand in front of him. And
no, because you couldn't get on the NBA floor, they would escort you off.
JoJo, the best ability
so you
is
what?
Not... JoJo, what's the best ability? Availability. He's not available. He stays hurt. All the things you said he can do is good if he can get on the court. Not only can I not get in front of him because the security escort me off, he can't get on the court with a three-piece suit on. He's got to be in a basketball uniform to get on the court.
I tell you what, we all remember the last time he was on the court in the finals, what he did.
And
to be quite honest with you, and I debate this with the younger kids today about the quality of the NBA play. You're really looking at an advanced form of college basketball because a lot of these guys playing should be college sophomores, college juniors.
You're exactly right.
Or even college seniors to a certain degree. They're not even a finished product. It's not even good basketball a lot of times. You know what I mean? So my thing is this right here. Kyrie's just getting healthy. That's all he's doing. He's just getting healthy. Danny Ainge is extremely intelligent. They know exactly what they're doing. There's no need for him to go out there. If you have a little bit of soreness, you have a little bit of whatever it may be, there's no need to go out there and kill yourself when you know, at the end of the year, you're already going to be locked into a certain spot. And you got other guard. And the biggest beneficiary are those younger kids that are getting experience now to him being out. Because now when he come back and now when they come in, that second unit is going to be even stronger because guess what? They have more playing experience and they're going to have fresher legs because now instead of playing the 30 or 33 minutes that they have to do now, they only going to have to play that 18 to 24, 26 minute period where they can go even harder and they defend. And they came back from some teams and made some big wins at the end of the year at home because Jason Tatum and those guys are really too young to be afraid or not know they're not supposed to be there to a certain degree. And Jaylen Brown and those guys have been there the year before. I think Kyrie's the X factor. He comes back healthy. I think they can beat anybody in the East without question because Toronto, Kyle Lowry don't show up in the playoffs. We don't even see him when the lights come on.
You know what, JoJo, I agree with you. If Kyrie is healthy, but if the queen had different body parts, she'd be king.
Wow.
I can't say what I want to say, but JoJo, listen, I tell you what we'll do. You and I put a 6-pack of Sprites. Let's say Sprite. I think Cleveland goes further than Boston in the East. Is that good?
Well, I tell you what, Huff, I'm looking at you, and I thought I had a lot of gray, but I see you catching up with me with the wisdom now and knowledge now, man.
You can't rock it like I rock it though. You're the young buck. Every gray hair has a story, Steven, and you know some of the stories. Don't tell it though. Hey man, I appreciate your time. Please say you'll be on again with us. Yes.
Without a question, man.
No doubt. You know you're my dude, man. Let's get on the golf course sometime soon, man. I appreciate you.
All right, and I know you got the cart fee.
Yeah, I got you, man. You know I got the cart fee. That's all I got. You got the rest of it. All right.
All right, man.
All right, appreciate you, brother.
All right, Chad the Barber, stay up, man.
Good one, brother. All right, man. That's Steven JoJo English. Former Diamond Hornet. He's not a former. He's a Lord Richard Diamond Hornet to the day he dies. Yeah, he's a Gamecock to the day he dies. Yeah, and a former Chicago Bull from back in the day. Got to run with Jordan back in the day. And just a good guy. He's now the head coach of Richard Northeast, the Cavaliers. After he had a rough season last year. And he works his magic. He does. I watch what he did in something. He does wonders with young men as a mentor and a coach. So I like to see when good guys they can really make a change, get a hold of a job, and I think it's going to be a good thing for Northeast.
So you see them winning this year.
We're going to win more than one. They won one game last year. They'll do better than that. So that's called improvement.
That's all right. One game's not bad.
Right. So I think they'll see the improvement. So we got a lot to talk about. Chad the Barber, Stacey Huff, the Huffster, Huff Nation Sports. This is Huff and Puff Sports Buzz. Bam! You see it right? That's official. That's a Huff.
On the wall.
And that's Puff. When it's on the wall, you can't beat that. Look at no better than that.
Painted it.
Yeah, get no better. Yeah, I painted just a few minutes ago.
He's a beast, man.
Just a few minutes ago. Yeah.
That's what he do.
Yeah, I got paint under my fingernails right now. Download the Freethinkers radio app. Freethinkers radio app. Download that every Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. We're right here inside. And you know, the good thing about a podcast, it's up every day. You can pull it up Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We got 1,000 hits on this last week's show, and most of them came after Wednesday. So go back and check. Go to YouTube. It's on YouTube. It's all over social media, man. You can get it on many different platforms, but Freethinkers Radio is the app to download. Chad, I got to get your take on a couple of things, man. Philadelphia's not used to having nice things, man. We all grew up. I'm older than you, but I grew up with Philadelphia being bums in baseball. And I remember Steve Carlton. They had a good run with Mike Schmidt and them back in the day.
Was all right.
They won the World Series in the 80s, but then they had some rough years. The 76ers, this whole process
has
been a long, ugly thing. The Flyers have had some good years, but the big three, so-called big three sports, the Eagles have had some rough years. They were the only team in the NFC East to not win a Super Bowl until
last year,
2 months ago, and now
Trump's
now I don't know what they got to do with anything.
I'm just saying,
it had nothing to do with the thing.
I'm just saying it's a lot of change.
I'm perplexed.
It's a lot of change.
Right,
it's just a lot of change, bro.
Then Villanova, which is from the greater Philadelphia area. Some people
they won.
They won, and the 76ers are gonna make the playoffs for the first time in a long time. Now, I will say this: now their playoff stay will not be long if Embiid is not healthy.
But the guard's back.
The guard is back, folks.
He's back.
He's playing well, but
they got a nice little system. I like how they did it. They sit everybody out with.
I like the guard coming back, Chad. But one thing,
I like that.
That's basically red shirt. Is what they're doing.
That was a great idea.
In the NBA, though, the one thing that everybody doesn't have that Philadelphia has, or that they're in a small minority of being blessed with, is that big man. Joel Embiid is the difference maker. Folks coming back is fine. And the fact that he plays a big man role because he blocks shots. He rebounds
everything,
right? And the thing is, when you got a big kid in the middle that commands a double team, offense becomes easy. When you got one man in the paint, you throw the ball into and you command a double team. And now the defense is scrambling. You got a mismatch somewhere on the floor. So without him, they're just a bunch of smaller sized guys running around, and I don't know if it's gonna work.
I think it'll still be pretty good. If a good squad.
If Embiid comes back,
they're gonna be dominant.
I think they get to the second round, if not the third round. If he doesn't come back, I think right now they matched up against the Indiana Pacers. I think the Pacers might be enough for them to get them out the first round. It's gonna be
really don't even matter. They need to get LeBron.
They need Embiid.
LeBron going to Philly, man.
Speaking of LeBron, can we talk about?
They setting the whole city up for LeBron. They got a new park and all up.
Can we talk about LeBron? LeBron is suing Alabama because they use the University of Alabama because they do something called barbershop talk, which goes against everything we believe in. Wow. LeBron says it's his idea. And they shouldn't be using it. And I heard one report said he had it patented. He tried to get it copyrighted, which means he maybe can sue. I don't know. But Nick Saban and the football team, they got a thing now where they're doing something called barbershop talk. And Nick Saban and LeBron had a war of words the last couple of days. They've been going back and forth. LeBron said he doesn't give a, can we say he don't give a damn? I don't know.
What is barbershop talk?
Just people just talking about sports, like we all do, barbershop talk. So LeBron does. He got a thing he set up for players called Uninterrupted. He set up his social media network, a network, and they kind of put their thoughts out there and they talk like barbershop. They just kind of get their thoughts out there uninterrupted without the media getting spinning it or twisting it. So he kind of was the pioneer of that. He's mad because Alabama has something about barbershop. Now I'm a LeBron defender. I can't ride with him on this. We all use the phrase barbershop talk. We use it on ESPN Radio.
Yeah, but you can't sue people over it.
Well, he's going to try to.
That's like suing people over the. Hey, man, I patent the. You can't use the.
Actually, I do have a patent on it. You owe me like $17 right now. So stop.
You ain't getting it.
You owe me $17.
I'm working out.
Take that off the haircuts that I'm already not paying for.
See the vein.
See the vein. So yeah, the vein means you're mad. That means he's serious.
That means I'm working. That's testosterone.
Oh, Chad, that's right. Chad's working out.
I am working out.
Please tell us about your workouts. I can't wait to hear.
I'm working hard, man. At 5 o'clock in the morning, Planet Fitness. Somebody meet me there if you don't believe me.
Oh, you're Planet Fitness? I go to Planet Fitness.
If you want to meet me there.
I'm not going there at 5 a.m. though, because I got to get kids.
That's what I say. Beat me there if you want to.
I'm not going to meet you there at 5 o'clock.
Every day you see me in the day, like, man, I've been up since 5.
I went Monday night at
I'm always up since
at 6 in the evening. That's kind of my time right there if I'm not doing this. So but yeah, work out. I encourage everybody to work out. Go get it in. And by the way, I must mention this on a serious note. Chad, that means this is serious. April 4th, 50 years ago was the day that Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. So I want to make note of that and say we got a lot of work left to do, but don't let the day pass by without thinking about that man a little bit. He paid a price for being outspoken and saying some things that we know were true, and we still need to work on. Man, he got gunned down. Who did it is a mystery itself. That's another whole conspiracy thing we can get into. That's another type of show.
A whole nother thing about Martin Luther King.
Type of show.
Too, man, if you want to hear.
Well, you know, the boys was coming to America, so they met Martin Luther King. Yeah. And he punched him in the chest. So I thought you was somebody else.
I thought you was somebody else.
That's one of the best
lines.
That
ain't you.
That's one of the best lines in that movie.
Yeah.
That's funny for no reason. I don't know why that's so funny. But that's funny.
Because he punched Martin Luther King in the face?
No, Martin Luther King punched him in the chest and said, I thought you was somebody
Martin
else.
Luther King, yeah, because he about peace. He
right.
supposed to be
but the whole point about I thought you was somebody else, though.
He got hit in the head with a rock, ain't do nothing.
Here's the conspiracy right here. Who was Martin Luther King? Who do you think it was?
Who do you think it was?
That's what I would.
That brother that set him up?
Right.
That brother from Salem?
I thought you was somebody else. Who was Martin Luther King?
The snitch.
Who was Martin Luther King looking for? When he punched my man from coming to America in the chest. Who was he looking for?
He thought it was Jesse.
That's the real.
He turned the corner and thought that was Jesse.
That's the real History Channel documentary right now. Who did he think the barber was? And you're a barber, you should feel something about that. He had a barber, man.
I don't know, man. A barber knocked out Suge Knight. I don't feel nothing about that.
It sure was. He sure did.
I promise you, Suge Knight walked in right now, I would feel like, oh, I got a chance. No, I don't.
It was a barber.
I don't care what your profession is.
It was a barber that knocked him out. It sure was. I saw that video, man. And he was bragging about it in the barbershop.
No offense, Suge Knight.
My recap on the NCAA tournament, I didn't say it with JoJo because I knew he wanted to argue about it. I ain't got time to argue with JoJo. When Mississippi State allowed that girl to Ogunbowale. When they let Ogunbowale from Notre Dame get that shot, she caught the ball and dribbled 3 times. You got to foul that young lady, man. 3 seconds, right, my man? Right? 3 seconds. She caught the ball with her back to the basket. That's a foul.
You can't foul her.
It had a foul to give.
That's how good she is.
It had a foul to give, though.
That's
how good she is. You got to foul on the catch. You got to foul on
She twisted her body.
They took that foul home with them. They took that foul home. Mississippi State, and the coach seems like a good guy.
Say she's a contortionist.
The coach of Mississippi State, that old white gentleman, he reminds me of y'all can't have a show right here. He reminds me of every white man I grew up around in my hometown. He's just a good old white dude. Good man. Good. This is good. No, good. He's like a good dude. And the girls play hard. They play hard for him. Oh my God, they play hard for him. And that team, I thought it was set up for them to win it. Oh, no UConn. I thought the basketball gods were going to reward them because they knocked UConn out last year for the Gamecocks. I see basketball guys, y'all owe them. Let them have this championship this year. They get it. And they were lead. They had a 5-point lead with a minute and change in the game and gave it away. And they said they let that girl with a tied ball game and a foul to give. Clean catch, 3 clean dribbles, and a 3. They didn't get a hand up on the 3, but you knew she was going to make the shot. When she shot it, I knew it was going in.
I want to know what town this is with all these good white folks.
I say all of them good folks.
I say he reminds me.
He reminds me a lot of the white gentlemen I grew up with. Some of my little league baseball coaches or something like that. He seemed like a pretty solid dude. And although I do work in the media, I know people that know him, that cover them. I've talked to people. Everybody says good things. Someone was just telling me last week, he's actually a good person. He's a cool dude, guy to talk to. But so I root for them because the SEC. So I rooted for the SEC. So with all that being said, I thought it was perfect setup for Mississippi State to make it 2 in a row for the SEC, which makes the game cost look better. All that helps. All that's good for my alma mater. And they PP'd away. Can I say that? They PP'd a 5-point lead away.
Can't say PP?
I just did. Obviously, I can.
I think that's the proper word for it.
Is it? Yeah.
What else did you say?
They wasted it. They gave it up. They blew it. They blew a 5-point lead.
That's easy.
Anybody can do that?
That's what she said.
Right. See, you can't. I don't think you can do it. I don't think you can do that. That's what I don't think. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you can do that. I don't think that. Villanova. If everybody comes back, that team's got to be favored, right? And I think already the odds are out saying Duke's favorite to win next year because they got Zion and
they got like everybody coming.
Okay, they have everybody every year and they can't win.
But they ain't Zion.
Check out the Masters. Hey, brothers, right on. Speaking of Ogunbowale, listen.
We're gonna talk about Tiger.
Tiger's back.
Tiger is the black man.
Can we all come back to golf now, brothers? Come on back to golf. Y'all come on back to golf. Y'all come on back. Can we come back? Can we come back to golf, please? Come on. I'm trying to play. I'm gonna beat JoJo in golf somewhere in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna take JoJo out to the golf course. I think we play at Oak Hills. I'm gonna beat him at Mercer Play and win a 6-pack of something from him.
I think after he wins, he's gonna turn into the Black Ric Flair.
So Tiger Woods, so be ready. So all the white women in Augusta, be ready. Tiger's gonna win.
All the get out of limo with snakeskin shoes
all the Waffle House.
12 white women.
All the Waffle House. Where the white women at?
Tiger got it. Tiger.
Let's move for the black.
Where's Tiger?
With
all the white.
Where the white women at? That's the first thing Tiger say in the post game at the interview in the Masters. Be like, yo, I appreciate all that right there, but where It's the white.
And they talking about we ain't got no civil rights leaders right now.
It's Tiger Woods?
Tiger.
That's your civil rights.
Tiger. Thanks,
He ride for Chad.
Tiger
Pink
for
toe
president.
pimping.
You voted for Obama,
toe.
vote for Tiger.
The pink toe pimp right here. The pink toe pimp is
Real equality. It's been 50 years.
Vote for Tiger. He's making a change. He's making real change.
It's all about the content.
Tiger for change. And
It's not about your skin.
Tiger
Content, baby.
Tiger say, thanks. This trophy is good. The green jacket is good. But where the white women at?
I love it.
I'm rooting for Tiger. Y'all come on back and watch it. I think we about out of show. Look, we got a few seconds left. As I always say about this time, that's for Chad the Barber, Stacey Health. So please keep looking up. All good things come from above, not below. Buckle up for safety. Enjoy your weekend coming up. And RIP DH. Her birthday will be Sunday. Y'all know who that is. Y'all have a good one.